And faith is a rich, personal thing. And it's allowed in our religion, not in all religions, but it's allowed to ask questions, doubting questions, searching questions, and to speak honestly to God. It's the nature of our faith, the nature of the Psalms, isn't it? It was the nature of Abraham's life. He was God's friend, remember? James calls him the friend of God. And he spoke with God as a friend. With the utmost respect, I should add, because he calls him what? He calls him Sovereign Lord. Verse 2. But he speaks to him very directly. So in verse 1, the Lord came to Abraham, or the word of the Lord came to Abraham in a vision. And he spoke to encourage Abraham. Remember that Abraham had been through a pretty brutal time in chapter 14. Those sort of local wars and warlords must have been pretty raw. And so he needs to hear a word from God, and God intervenes graciously, kindly. Do not be afraid, Abraham. I am your shield, your protector, and your very great reward. Faith can overcome fear as we take to heart those words for ourselves. Do not be afraid. It's true for every believer, by the way. Every child of Abraham gets the same promises Abraham got. So if you're a child of Abraham, meaning you have faith like Abraham, faith in the Lord Jesus Christ, those words are for you as well. You can have them. Put them in your pocket and take them home. Do not be afraid. Zelda, surely, Glenn, so on. God is your shield, your very great reward. But then we're told that Abraham questions God. He does it very respectfully, but he directly questions God. He says, oh, yep. I'm sure he's very happy that God has said what he said to him, verse 1. But he's got something on his mind. What can you give me? What reward can you really give me, Lord? Since I'm childless. Abraham knew that God had promised that he would be a great nation. It's 10 years ago, actually. 10 years before, in chapter 12. And it's playing on his mind. What can you give me? Since I remain childless, and the one who will inherit my estate is my servant, probably, Eliezer of Damascus. That's the way it worked in the ancient world. This is something Abraham would do. This is the nature of true faith. It comes close to God. It asks questions. It expresses doubts and fears and failures and speaks honestly before the Lord. The first rule of prayer, said Martin Luther, is honesty. No point in being dishonest with God. He knows. He knows exactly what's in your heart. Does the Lord tell him off for asking a question? Does he tell him off for challenging him in this way? Not at all. He confirms his promise and more. It's when he takes him outside and says, look up at the sky. He gives Abraham the reassurance he really needs through his word. Directly, immediately.